to you in part by Coors Extra Gold, the beer with a full tilt taste.
The game, obviously, a lot of the excitement there is due to the brands that both teams have established over the last 6 months. Just from afar, your view on Colorado and kind of what they've built and kind of creating that excitement, is that impressive?
Listen, they know brand. I'm a brand guy. I think they've done an incredible job. If you look at kind of how they're elevating and amplifying their brand, engaging with their fans, they've done a wonderful job. So I wish them well.
Welcome back to Alpine Garage Sports, folks. My name is Chris. I am your host for this show, and we are in the garage. We talk about CU football, talk about CU culture. Today, actually, we're talking about the Big 12 and the fact that Brett Yormark, who is the commissioner of the Big 12, if you go back a few months, I'll put it down below in the description. I did a video called that we may be going to the Big Sexy, and I called it the Big Sexy. That's the Big 12. If you ever see me say Big Sexy on a live stream or something like that, I'm referring to the Big 12, and the reason why is because Brett Yormark has come into the Big 12, and Oklahoma and Texas are leaving the Big 12, and honestly, it's exactly like the Pac-12. Two of the bigger teams, which is UCLA and USC, leaving the Pac-12. You have OU and Texas, and I don't even know why I said that they're similar, because USC is the biggest. UCLA, I don't know. It'd be like maybe losing Washington and USC, or Utah and USC. But in any case, losing Oklahoma and Texas out of the Big 12, you would just expect it to fold like a taco and be done. And in this particular case, Brett Yormark has come in, and he has turned it completely around. In fact, OU and Texas seem to be kind of in the game of, hey, you're going to miss me. Hey, you're going to miss me. What are you guys going to do when we're gone? And Brett Yormark isn't having any of that. In fact, he lost 2 teams, added 4 teams, and also created a huge media rights deal for all of those schools. People aren't really even talking about OU and Texas leaving anymore. I mean, it's like it's been so overplayed over the last couple of years. People just don't care anymore, and they want to see what the new Big 12 is. But anyway, Brett Yormark is, in my opinion, a flat genius. He is running the media, his Big 12 media days right now. And there was an interview with him with a bunch of reporters. This is brought to me by John Kurtz, who has a channel on YouTube called John Kurtz. He follows Big 12 realignment. He does a lot of Big 12 stuff. He also does things on other conferences as well. But a great source of information. You should go to his channel and subscribe, because if you're interested at all in realignment, us possibly going to the Big 12, what does that look like? He is a great source for that. But anyway, he posted a video that showed Brett Yormark at the Big 12 Media Days talking about CU. Someone had asked, a reporter had asked, with TCU and CU playing, both of these teams have created a lot of hype around themselves and created brands, and how does that affect the Big 12? And we're specifically talking about CU. Brett Yormark, in classic Brett Yormark fashion, after that question, he said, well, they know brand. And I'm a brand guy, being Yormark saying he's a brand guy. And that's what it comes down to for him. He understands that if you're going to create a conference, you're going to create multiple schools that are going to draw big money and draw big media and draw big fan bases. You need to have a brand that can actually get out there and get bigger than just the alumni and the people who live in the vicinity of that school, in order to really build that brand. And that is on top of needing to win, because that's the best way to build a brand, is to win. But he mentioned in here that we know how to build brand, and he's a brand guy. And he mentioned how good Colorado is at building the brand this year. He wishes them well, is basically what he said. But he also said something in there that was really interesting to me as well, which he said they know how to engage with their fans. And when he said that, that's a big part of what football is about. It's a big part of what any sports is about. If you don't have fans, then you don't really have much of a sport at that point as far as making money is concerned. I mean, a sport's a sport. We have lots of sports that don't create a huge fan base. But when you're trying to generate money for a university, the fan base has got to be engaged. And the University of Colorado and Coach Prime this year have really figured out a way with, Reach the People media and the pregame show and Bucky's show and then all the individual players. They're doing a really good job. And then the media team that's at CU right now are putting together some just fantastic stuff. And when you pull all that together, it's engaging the fan base at a much higher rate than probably any other school is right now. And for Brett Yormark, he was being very gracious about the question. Obviously, CU is not a part of the Big 12 right now, but we all know that Yormark wants Coach Prime and CU to join the Big 12. He's actually being very pragmatic about the way he's answering this question to make sure that he doesn't step on TCU's toes, because the question was actually based on both of those, even though it was leaning towards Colorado. And the fact that you can see right there the reason why he wants the University of Colorado to come into the Big 12, or maybe a big reason, is because of the brand notoriety that it's bringing to the entire Big 12. Now, all of the schools in the Big 12 have done a really good job this year in elevating their brand based on the fact that Yormark has come in and created this big media deal. And the new schools that are coming, the 4 new schools that are coming in, their brand has been elevated instantly by coming to the Big 12. Now, that said, Brett Yormark and Coach Prime and Rick George are, as far as I'm concerned, very similar in their approach to building this brand. So, you know that Brett Yormark came in, Big 12 was devastated. They just lost their 2 biggest schools. Everybody thought they were going to be left for dead. He came in and re-energized it with his marketing genius, in which he did the same thing for the Nextel Cup and NASCAR and many other things too. So he's got a long line of success in what he's done in building brands. You have Coach Prime, who obviously, starting from a very young age, has built brand after brand after brand after brand. He has transformed himself from a college football player to an NFL superstar to an NFL commentator of very high ranking to high school and college football coach, and now is on probably the biggest stage of his professional career as a coach, obviously at the University of Colorado, and is continuing to build this brand. You can't find a piece of merch that doesn't have Prime on it somewhere. And that shows you that Colorado is really latching onto this, because that's the megastar. He is our megastar coach that's going to come in and take us to the promised land. Don't forget about Rick George, our AD, who Coach Prime says our beloved AD. And the reason why is because Rick George has a huge, long history of building brands. He built the PGA brand. He built the Rangers baseball brand. And now he's at Colorado building the Colorado brand for like the 2nd or 3rd time, because you have to remember that Rick George has been here since the 80s. And he was also spearheaded the 2014 expansion of the athletic facilities, which everybody sees in every single video. So let's not forget that of all of these things that are happening now, one of the baselines that you see that makes this brand elevated pretty high is Rick George's work in the infrastructure of CU. So he is as prominent in this building of the CU brand as anybody, as I'm concerned. So that said, the 3 of those are cut from the same cloth. They all know how to build a business. They all know how to build a brand. And that's why I think this video is so poignant, because you have Brett Yormark, who is trying to entice Colorado over, basically saying something very, very small but very, very big. And basically it is giving credit to someone that's not in their conference and how good they're doing with building the brand and how it connects with what he's doing with the Big 12. Boom, there you go. So will we go to the Big 12? Will we stay with the Pac-12? You know, at this point, who knows? I think I am part of that group that says that we are going to go to the Big 12. I think it's a smart move for us. You have Coach Prime, who actually came out not too long ago and said, you know what, it doesn't matter to me because I'm going to dominate in any conference that I'm in. My job is to build a winning team and promote our winning team. Rick's job is to decide where we're going to play and who we're going to play. Because he trusts, you can see an immense amount of trust there with Rick George. If Rick George says, hey, we're going to the ACC, Coach Prime would be right there saying, let's go dominate. So the love between this group of people is yet another confirmation that this is the right year for us and this is the right staff that we have going into this year with everybody, coaches, players, administrative staff. It's just like it couldn't be a better scenario as far as I'm concerned. And this video from Brett Yormark just goes to show you that someone who the industry, which is the NCAA, college football in general, sees this guy as a mover and a shaker. And for him to give Colorado a nod when Colorado's not even in that conference is a big deal. I'm just going to say that right now. That is a wrap from Alpine Garage Sports. Thought this would be a fun thing to talk about. If you like this, please comment down below. What do you think of Brett Yormark's comments? What do you think about our brand building and kind of where we're going in the future? and whether or not you think we're going to be going to the Big 12 and kind of making this brand thing match with Yormark's envisionment of what the Big 12 looks like. And we'll see you in the next video. And if you haven't already heard, we coming.